The 49ers entered the game against the Titans pretty hot. Garoppolo had been playing really well, and the team has won 5 out of their last 6 games. But being the road team on a short week always presents significant disadvantages. And this game would have its share of mistakes. Let's take a look at the film and see how things played out. The 49ers went right to work on the first drive of the game. Now, it might look tempting for Jeff Wilson Jr. to bounce to the outside here. Maybe he could have. But this play is designed for him to follow Laken Tomlinson into the hole. Here we see a rare mistake by Trent Williams as his defender gets inside of him. But Jeff Wilson Jr. just runs right through him and is still able to gain 3 yards on the play. Now, this is a rather pedestrian running play, so you may wonder, why am I starting with this particular play? Well, it's first down. And my point is, even when things don't quite go right, and you only gain a few yards on first down, that's okay, because now it brings you into second and manageable and third and manageable. And that's where Garoppolo is at his best. His strength is moving the chains, particularly on third down, not necessarily throwing deep. So, as coach, you have to make the best use of your personnel, and I thought the Niners did a good job of that early on. But we'll see how that changes as the game progresses. The Titans would spend all night in a zone defense, and here Deebo Samuel gets right in between these two defenders, and then he cuts to the middle. Now, because they're in a zone, notice the safety has to go with George Kittle. That's very wise, but it also means when Christian Fulton falls down on the play, there's nobody left to tackle Deebo Samuel. Deebo almost makes it in, but he stopped just short of the goal line. Jeff Wilson Jr. would punch it in, and the Niners score first. Robbie Gould tacks on the extra point, and the score is 7-0. And they would get the ball back. Again, they start off with a first down run behind the blocks of George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk. Jeff Wilson Jr. takes the ball around the corner. Now he's knocked out just short, but again, that puts him in second and manageable. It's actually second and very short here. And Wilson takes the plunge across the line to give the 49ers a first down. The Niners are in a little bit of a rhythm, so here Kyle Shanahan calls a very creative play. They start off with a fake to Jeff Wilson Jr. George Kittle and Travis Benjamin will pretend to block downfield. But then Garoppolo pulls the ball down, and Kittle and Benjamin head out for pass routes. But now what's going on? Here we see Travis Benjamin turn around and try to get in position to block Christian Fulton, while George Kittle heads upfield to block Kevin Byard. Is this a broken play? Far from it. Now we see the offensive lineman downfield a little bit, and we realize this is a screen pass to Kyle Juszczyk. Now Benjamin comes close to blocking Fulton in the back here, but you can see he reaches out and grabs Juszczyk's face mask, and this penalty would be called by the officials. And either way, Juszczyk is off to the races. The 26-yard catch and run by Kyle and the 15 yards on the penalty make this a 41-yard gain. Now the 49ers would like to get Tom Compton down the field to block for Kyle Juszczyk, but there's a problem. They do need someone to pick up the defensive end. Well, they have a pretty easy solution for this. They pull Laken Tomlinson around because he can sell the run with Jeff Wilson Jr., and at the end of the day, the 49ers don't care whether he's blocking for Wilson or pass protecting for Garoppolo. They're going to bring him down to do that either way. The question is, does this fool anybody on the Tennessee Titans? And the answer is yes. Rashaan Evans heads in that direction and takes himself out of the play. Now I think this is a good no call on the Travis Benjamin block. It wasn't real clear that there was anything illegal about it, and the flag stays in the pocket until we see Fulton reach up and grab Kyle Juszczyk. But take a close look. I'm not so sure he has his face mask here. It looks like he grabs him by the shoulder pad. Tennessee catches a bit of a bad break here, in my opinion. The Titans stop Jeff Wilson Jr. after no gain or perhaps a very short gain. And here we get a great look at why. Tom Compton is simply beaten badly on the outside. As we've discussed before, Shanahan's offense puts defenders into conflict. What would you do if you were Rashaan Evans here? Would you cover George Kittle? Or would you cover Brandon Aiyuk? He decides to go with Aiyuk, and Garoppolo gets the football to Kittle over the middle. The 49ers are carving up the Titans. Jimmy Garoppolo is playing the best football of his career. And then came the turning point in the career of Jimmy Garoppolo and the franchise of the San Francisco 49ers. Greg Olsen is quickly making a name for himself as an outstanding analyst, and he did a great job on the telecast of explaining this play. George Kittle tries to sell Jackrabbit Jenkins, formerly known as Janoris Jenkins, like he's going to the corner, and then cut back to the inside for a pass. But Jenkins is all over this. He practically catches Kittle. Now, how does Jenkins know that Kittle isn't going to burn him to the corner? Well, the answer is simple. Kittle does not have the speed to do so. And this was the first time in the game that I started to question Shanahan a little bit. In my opinion, this is a misuse of personnel to have Kittle run this route. You need to have a speedy guy run this route. Now the question becomes, is there anywhere else for Garoppolo to throw the football? Well, at first glance, it might appear as if all the receivers are covered. But yes, in fact, there is a few other places he can go with the football. Let's take a look. He can go here to the cameraman, or maybe up here to this lucky fan. My point being, he needs to throw this ball away. Instead, he tries to force it in here. And let's talk about why he may have done that. Jenkins, as I said, practically catches Kittle, and Garoppolo has talked before about the fact that when he sees those defenders make contact with his receivers, he'll throw that ball in there because usually he'll get a call from the official. But in my opinion, this is a big mistake in this situation because I'm going to outline this for you. The 49ers are in the red zone, which I've covered green here. This is the area on the field where it's going to be easiest to score, either by a touchdown or by a field goal. In fact, the most important thing here is not to give up that field goal. That's 3 points. That would turn out to be pretty important to the 49ers later in the game. Spoiler alert, you absolutely, positively cannot turn the ball over in this part of the field. Period, point blank, end of story. Garoppolo tries to force this ball in, and it's intercepted by Jenkins. A devastating blow for the 49ers, who had been clicking on offense. One last thing to note, this error was unforced. Garoppolo has excellent protection here. There was no reason for him to rush this throw or force this ball. He needs to stay calm and throw the ball away. Okay, let's move ahead to the second quarter. Here the 49ers start with a run fake to JaMycal Hasty. Now after the fake, he continues heading towards the sideline. Now Kevin Byard sees Hasty coming around and completely turns Kyle Juszczyk loose wide open down the field. Why would he do that? Well, Byard wasn't just turning him completely loose. He was passing him off to Buster Skrine. See, the Titans are still in a zone here. And Skrine is carrying Brandon Aiyuk through his area, but he's sticking with him a little bit too long. He should have picked up Kyle Juszczyk on this play. Instead, absolutely nobody's on Kyle. This is a walk-in touchdown. And Garoppolo throws the ball too high for Kyle Juszczyk. That is a bad misfire when you have a wide-open touchdown like that. That one hurts. But here again, I have to question Kyle Shanahan a little bit. Why are you sending your fullback way down the field to try to catch this ball? Now, he makes a valiant effort leaping up to try to get his hand on it, but you have to wonder, would Deebo Samuel or Brandon Aiyuk have been able to come down with that ball? I think for the second time this game, we're seeing a little bit of a misuse in personnel. Now, that doesn't let Garoppolo off the hook in any way, shape, or form. This is two bad plays by Jimmy Garoppolo early in this game, and it would only get worse. Now, the 49ers are able to salvage this by kicking a field goal to take a 10-0 lead. But you think about the interception earlier in the game. If they had kicked a field goal there and scored a touchdown with Kyle Juszczyk, they should be up 17-0 right now. Now, if nothing else, the Tennessee offense is doing absolutely nothing, so the 49er offense will get the ball back again. And here Rashaan Evans says, "You guys have been fooling me left and right, and I'm getting a little tired of it, so now it's my turn to try to fool you." Here he fakes like he's covering Juszczyk and then immediately loops back around to try to pick this pass off that's intended for Deebo Samuel. And he almost comes up with this football. Wow. Now, he fooled Garoppolo here, but was there anywhere else for Jimmy to go with the football? Yeah, he probably could have gotten it to Kyle Juszczyk or Jeff Wilson Jr. if he had been a little bit more patient. And of course, he could have rolled out and tried to buy some time and simply thrown this ball away. One more thing. Look at the down and distance marker. You can see it's first down. I made the point earlier in this video of showing a lot of first down runs that sort of shortened the chains up for the 49ers. Gave them a lot of second and manageable situations, which could turn into third and manageable situations. Because that's what Garoppolo does best, right? Is move those chains on second and third down when it's short yardage over the middle. That's his bread and butter, where he dominates the game. But you notice this is a first down throw. What if I told you that 12 out of the next 14 first down plays were passes? In my opinion, Shanahan kind of got sucked into this a little bit. He felt like he had to pass on first down to maybe try to dictate to the Titans defense what they were doing. I would have liked to have seen the 49ers control this game a little bit more. Remember, they still have a 10-point lead here. Pound that rock with Jeff Wilson Jr. Eat up some yardage, some time on first and second down. Throw the ball with Jimmy on third down, which is his strength. And then if you don't get it, punt the ball away to your defense, who's playing pretty good up until this point. 12 out of the next 14 first down plays were passes. And the Titans seemed to eat this up. They seemed to know it was coming. And maybe that's why Evans picked this moment to try to drop back and fool Garoppolo. And it almost worked. Niners got lucky on this one. All right, we're going to skip the second down play and move ahead to the third down play. Now, the first thing we notice here is that Garoppolo appears to have Juwan Jennings open underneath, and he does. The problem for the 49ers is the line to gain is the 32. Jennings isn't going to get there. Now, Garoppolo also has Deebo Samuel open down the sideline. But Garoppolo, let's take a look at where he's looking on the field. He hasn't reached that point in his progressions yet, and by the time he does, Denico Autry is bearing down on him. I would like to see Kyle Juszczyk helping George Kittle with this protection a little bit. The two of them weren't quite on the same page here, and this is the real turning point in this ball game in Garoppolo's career. and the state of the 49ers franchise. Because this is the play where Garoppolo would get his infamous thumb injury. Now here's Kyle Juszczyk. Watch him kind of look around for someone to block, and also watch Denico Autry just work George Kittle. It's hard for a tight end to block a defensive end like that, and here he gets the better of Kittle. Garoppolo's kind of looking around, doesn't have anybody, and then by the time he sees Deebo, he's a little hesitant to throw, and Autry gets to him. And here you can see Autry's hand on top of Garoppolo's hand. This is where the injury occurred, and nothing was quite the same or is going to be the same after that. So the Titans force a punt, but San Francisco would end up getting the ball back again before the half with just a minute 20 left. And we should talk about that end of half situation for the 49ers because I've seen a lot of discussion about it online, particularly how Shanahan handled the situation. Folks wanted Shanahan to be aggressive here, but he did call a deep shot for Jauan Jennings. Now, Jennings isn't the fastest receiver, and this play is well defended. And then Garoppolo and Jennings don't quite connect here. Deep balls are low percentage plays, so whether it's a result of that or a result of Jennings' speed, who's to say? But you can't say that the 49ers weren't aggressive here. On second down, Garoppolo does complete a pass to JaMycal Hasty, who gets tackled inbounds and critically short of the line to gain. Now there's 51 seconds left, so I'm sure some fans are thinking, hey, you could use a timeout here. But you would really use that timeout if he had gotten the first down, because now it's third down. You don't want to use a timeout, not get it, and then have to give the ball back to Tennessee. Now, on the following play, Garoppolo actually picks up the yardage with his legs, but that ball was snapped with just 22 seconds left, so it'd really be kind of pointless to call a timeout at this point. I've been pretty critical of Shanahan in this game, but I'm going to defend his handling of the end of half situation here. He took the deep shot. It didn't quite work. The Niners weren't quite able to pick up first downs and get out of bounds and do it in a way where they could preserve their timeouts and head down the field in a smart football way. So they simply went into the half with their 10-point lead. I'm okay with that. Now coming out of the half, Tennessee made a big adjustment to their offense. Here they're facing a 3rd and 15. And they've been facing some third downs in this game and played pretty conservatively. Here they take a decidedly different approach. And it's going to be an approach that I expect teams to exploit if the 49ers are lucky enough to make the playoffs. Now you might think 3rd and long, send 5 wide receivers down the field, put pressure on the Niners secondary, but the Titans do the opposite. They leave Jeff Swaim and Michael Pruitt, those 2 extra tight ends, in to help with pass protection. They only send 3 men down the field on routes. One other thing to notice, Nick Bosa is lined up on the inside here. And here we see the idea that Tennessee would use for the rest of the game. Whenever they found themselves in these 3rd and long situations, they would leave extra people back to help protect against that ferocious pass rush of the 49ers and give Ryan Tannehill time to find someone down the field. And here, Nick Westbrook-Akine beautifully splits Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tartt, who are just staring at Tannehill mesmerized. And Ryan Tannehill gets him the football for a 24-yard gain on 3rd and 15. Later in the drive, the Titans would be facing a 3rd and 7. And again, they leave a running back and a tight end to help with pass protection, sending only 3 men down the field on routes. And the 49ers think, well, heck, if you're only sending 3 guys into our secondary, maybe we can afford to blitz. Let's test that extra protection. So they send K'Wan Williams and Azeez Al-Shaair on a blitz. Now watch as Anthony Frisker, the other tight end, does a fantastic job of chipping Nick Bosa and then sliding over to pick up the blitzing Al-Shaair. That was impressive. K'Wan Williams isn't having any luck on the other side either, and it gives Tannehill the time to find A.J. Brown coming open. Now, the 49ers did have a clever little plan to drop Fred Warner back to pick Brown up, but you can see he's way too far away from the receiver. Tannehill gets him the football, and this turns into another nice gain for the Tennessee Titans. Okay, same drive, 3rd and 10 now. And again, the Titans leave this time Frisker and the running back Jeremy McNichols, one on each side, to help with pass protection. Now notice the hips of Josh Norman and Jimmy Ward. They're both heading the other way. They are determined not to let A.J. Brown beat them deep for a long touchdown here. So Brown just puts on the brakes. Now, Tannehill is actually late on this throw. Had Josh Norman been playing this more aggressively, I believe he would have been able to break up this pass. And, in my opinion, he should have been playing this more aggressively because he had help from Jimmy Ward. Instead, this ball is completed, and it's another 3rd down conversion for the Titans. Tennessee marches right down the field and kicks a field goal. They get on the board 10-3. Shanahan responds by calling another 1st down pass for the 49ers, and this one is a disaster. Garoppolo tries to fit this ball into a tight window over the middle, which he has done before, but this one sails on him, and I believe this is the first time we really see the impact of that injury to his thumb. In high school, this is what we would call a wounded duck. The Titans hand off to Donta Foreman, and here Marcel Harris hesitates a little bit, which you can't do in this situation. When they're running the ball, you've got to hit this hole full speed, and if you guess the wrong hole, so be it. But if you hesitate, it's already too late. Now we know Garoppolo's thumb is injured, but he hits a couple of nice passes, first to Juwan Jennings, and then to Brandon Aiyuk. Later in the same drive, the 49ers are facing a 2nd down and 10. They call a simple overload play with George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk blocking for Jeff Wilson Jr. And the play gains 5 yards. So now facing a 3rd down and 5, Shanahan liked that play so much he decided to call the same play again. Now, he used different personnel. For one thing, Deebo Samuel's lined up in the backfield. We see George Kittle lined up on the left side, and this time he brings Jeff Wilson Jr. around in motion to accomplish the same formation at the snap. And this play gains 4 yards. Now, why would you run the ball on 3rd and 5? Well, there could be several reasons. For one thing, Garoppolo had the injured thumb. Maybe Shanahan doesn't want to throw it unless he has to. Another thing, you call the run on 3rd and 5 if you think you're going to get a 1st down. But there's one more reason too. Maybe you call that run if you feel in your heart of hearts that it's 4 down territory here. You know you're going to go for it on 4th down. You call that run to give yourself a 4th and manageable. And that's exactly what the 49ers decide to do here. But the 49ers commit a bonehead false start penalty, turning this from a 4th and 1 into a 4th and 6. Now I don't like this decision so much. Your percentage has gone down, and remember, you still have a 7-point lead. There's no need to force anything here. Well, let's take a look at the play. We see that Garoppolo has started his throwing motion, and Brandon Aiyuk is still moving. But watch as Aiyuk stops and kind of settles in the middle of the field there where there's that window. But Garoppolo's already started to throw, and he's leading Aiyuk, and as a result, the pass is incomplete. And Kyle Shanahan is extremely frustrated. Let's go back to the snap. Now I'm going to show this to you guys in slow motion, and you can see what I mean. He stops, and then, now it's clear that the two of them are not on the same page. And how could that happen? Well, for one thing, with these Thursday night games, the road team doesn't really get a chance to practice. They kind of do walkthroughs. They don't do full padded practices for a Thursday night game when you just played on Sunday. And that's a play you've got to practice over and over and over again to make sure you've got it right, especially if you're going to call it on a big fourth down situation. The two of them just weren't in sync there, and that was a big missed play in this game. And it doesn't look good for Jimmy considering the other negative plays he's already had. Now, I can't say that one is 100% his fault. Nevertheless, the Titans are going to get the football, and they smell blood in the water. But here the Titans are facing a 3rd down and 23. Now, when you're facing 3rd and very long, late in the 3rd quarter, this is a great time to use a hard count. You can hopefully get the defense to jump off sides and either get a free play out of it or get the 5 yards, and then you get 3rd and 18, which is a little easier than 3rd and 23. And here the hard count suckers both Arden Key and Nick Bosa. They leave the running back in to help with pass protection, and the Titans have A.J. Brown one-on-one against Ambry Thomas. I would like to see the 49ers give Ambry Thomas a little bit more safety help during games. Alright, it's the same drive, but we're in the 4th quarter now, so the teams have switched sides. Josh Norman takes an outside technique. He's taking that away from A.J. Brown. So Brown, naturally, goes to the inside. And the safety is too far away to have an impact on the play. Could the 49ers have put a second safety back there? Well, not on this play because they decided to send a blitz. And Tannehill makes a great throw to Brown. The Titans take the lead for the first time in this game. The extra point makes it 17-10, and the 49ers are reeling. We're going to move ahead now. 3 minutes, 42 seconds left, and the 49ers must score a touchdown. And here, Garoppolo has started his throwing motion because he's going to throw this ball to Deebo Samuel. Now, that might seem crazy, but the 49ers don't have a choice. They need a touchdown here. They've got to take some risks. The defender is all over Deebo, so Garoppolo has to throw it before Deebo makes his break. And that is an outstanding throw. And Deebo Samuel is off to the races, and he is finally brought down inside the 5-yard line. Wow. Phenomenal throw. You can see the defender landed on top of Deebo, and it knocks the wind out of him, but he would be okay. And here we see a little confusion from the Titans defense. 2 defenders guard Trent Sherfield, and nobody is on Brandon Aiyuk. I think Christian Fulton is the one that was supposed to go with Brandon Aiyuk here. In any event, it's an easy throw for Garoppolo, and just like that, the 49ers tie this game up again. Now this shows exactly how explosive the Niners offense can be. In fact, they scored with 2 minutes and 20 seconds still left in the game. So the Titans are going to get a shot to go down and kick a field goal here. The last thing you would want to do is give them any extra yardage, any free yards on a penalty or anything like that. And here Brandon Aiyuk does something, in my opinion, that is incredibly stupid. He kicks the ball into the stands. This easily could have and probably should have merited a penalty. And the official is staring right at him. You ever have one of those moments where maybe you're speeding or driving crazy and a police officer has you absolutely dead to rights and then he lets you off with a warning? Well, that was this moment for Brandon Aiyuk here. No flag on the play, and the 49ers can breathe a sigh of relief, at least for now. Now it's actually 16-17, but Robbie Gould makes it official, 17-17. 2 minutes, 20 seconds left. And the Titans are on the move. And here, Tannehill doesn't like what he sees, and with the pass rush bearing down on him, he decides to use a skill that he's always had but hasn't had a chance to use yet today, and that is the ability to run. And he takes off with the football, and he gains 23 yards in a huge play for the Titans. Whoop! Makes Fred Warner miss, and that is a big gain for Tennessee, and it puts them in position to kick the game-winning field goal. Tennessee wins it 20-17. Huge win for the Tennessee Titans, who are fighting for a first-round bye. Can you believe that? And for the San Francisco 49ers, this was a devastating loss that made their path to the playoffs surprisingly a lot harder. And, of course, for Jimmy Garoppolo, it looks like this is probably the end of his career in San Francisco. Now, he has a torn ligament in his thumb. If it's partially torn, he can play through it. Matt Stafford played with a partially torn ligament last year. If it's completely torn, he'll need surgery, and it'll be the end of the road for him in San Francisco. That's what the 49ers are facing on the road ahead. But talking about the Titans game, the 49ers made things really hard on themselves. Jimmy Garoppolo was playing pretty bad even before that injury to his thumb. The poor decision to force the ball to George Kittle in the end zone led to the back-breaking interception, missing Kyle Juszczyk wide open down the sideline. That would have been a walk-in touchdown. Those are things that you just don't want to see happen in a football game from your starting quarterback. Kyle Shanahan had a great game plan in terms of X's and O's. I don't know about his use of personnel in some of the situations. Also, his tendency to call all those first down passes made things harder on the quarterback and the team. I would like to have seen him run the ball on first down more, take control of that game a little bit, shorten up those chains. But Josh, what if they stacked up against the run? Well, that's okay. As we saw in that first drive, even if you only gain a yard or two, now you're looking at 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, 3rd and 8, instead of 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, right? The fourth down call kind of combines some of these elements. Garoppolo missed Brandon Aiyuk, and the decision to go for it on 4th and 6 instead of 4th and 1 might be talked about a little bit. Ultimately, if Garoppolo had played a little bit better, I think the 49ers win this game. As the quarterback, you're kind of like the captain of the ship, right? You know, it's your responsibility. Fair or unfair, that's how you're judged by the fans and the media. And let's face it, Garoppolo's got a lot of unfair criticism this season. How do we know this? Well, the film doesn't lie. We take a look at the film and we see for ourselves whether it's good or bad. And tonight was bad. There's no getting around that. Let's talk about some of the good points. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Aiyuk, those guys were awesome as always. Jeff Wilson Jr. filled in for Elijah Mitchell. Jeff Wilson's still getting his legs under him a little bit, but he ran hard. I like the way Ambry Thomas played. He was in the right position a lot of the time. He needs to build up his strength a little bit. We talked about this last week with the Falcons game. Hit that weight room in the offseason. Get better at playing that ball, playing through the receiver's hands to knock those balls away, come up with interceptions, make plays, and he will improve. 49ers have an exciting prospect there, and he should pair nicely with Emmanuel Mosley in the future. All right, where do the 49ers go from here? They have a game against the Houston Texans, and Trey Lance is going to start in that game. Now, if you're watching this video, you know that game has already been played, and I've got good news for you. It's Tuesday. I've just received the All-22 film for that game. I expect to have a breakdown of that available for you guys by Thursday. And in that game, we will look at the good, the bad, the things Trey Lance can improve on, but all of the exciting things he did too. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, folks, want to keep this short and sweet. It takes a long time to make a video like this. If you could give me just 2 seconds to hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. It's Niners, it's Texans, it's Trey Lance. The era is upon us, whether we're ready for it or not. But we know Kyle Shanahan had him ready because we all saw him play on Sunday. And you guys are not going to want to miss out on the X's and O's. Hit that subscribe button so you know exactly when that breakdown video drops, and you'll be one of the first to see it. Trey Lance, the 49ers bet a lot on this kid to lead the team into the future, and he's going to have to do it starting in the present, right now, into the playoffs. How far will we go with the rookie? That remains to be seen, but exciting times are ahead. And you know, we are going to be there to break down that film when it happens, and I will see you guys then.